Okay, here we have a Cannondale Supersix Evo HiMod 2017. It's quite a long-winded name, really. I've been criticised sometimes on the videos for doing older bikes, and that's just what I've had. So here's a newer bike anyway, so it might appease some of the people. So looking down the down tube, it's a pretty clean-looking bike, straight round tube on the down tube. Simple graphics, bit of black and grey, a bit of gloss and a bit of satin. You've got an internal brake cable guide in the head tube. The top tube is again a straight round tube, which is rather efficient, and quite little clean junction at the seat cluster. Bit of graphics down the seat tube, which is again straight round tube. Bit of gloss on the front. The hangers nice and spaced out, so good support there. Press fit bottom bracket, you know what I think of that. And then the chainstays are quite slender. Again, straight round tubes. And yeah, we'll talk about this derailleur hanger problem a little bit later, but that's the reason why the bike came in. Moving up the seat stays, they're quite fine. Again, straight round tubes. And then back up to the seat junction. There runs a 27.2 diameter seat post for a bit more compliance, a bit more ride comfort. So the theory goes, although material has as much a play in that as anything else. So that's what it looks like on the outside. You know the formula. Let's turn it over and have a look on the inside and see what we can find here. So the first area we'll look at is the bottom bracket, as usual. So what they've done here, they've got a press fit bottom bracket. It's a lug joint with a join to the down tube and the chainstays. The press fit housing is moulded into the lug. Now there is a bit of porosity in that adhesive bond line there, which could develop into something over time, but it is relatively minor at this point. Where the the water bottle bosses go through, there's some reinforcement there, which is good. There's the compaction of the tube is all pretty good. Another little insert there. Where the transition goes to the head tube, you can see the different moulding process with the expanded sort of EPS instead of the round tube. There is a little bit of resin pooling in certain areas. It's sort of hard to see on this video, but yeah, different light you can see that. Going down this top tube, again straight round tube, moulded very well. Slight sort of resin rich on the surface, and that's that yellowy green tinge that you can see. Into the top tube and seat tube junction. Now there's a little bit of pink there, that's some adhesive, but I have seen failures in the older models through that area, so hopefully they've got a bit more reinforcement through that section now, and that's no longer a problem. Moving down the seat tube, the again straight round tube, and it looks quite clean. There's very little wrinkling, if any. You got the hanger there with rivets, nice Bigfoot rivets with extra fabric through there. So that's all looking pretty good. No sort of real issues with any of that so far. So going into the Chainstay Junction, again, good overlap and plenty of adhesive in that tube junction. And there you can see a label, one of the production labels. And then we've got a little bit of a wrinkle and a bit of resin pooling and a few things going on right where the dropout joins. But the big thing with this one is the dropout. So, and this is what I came in for, because the dropout itself has just sheared off So looking really close, now you can see on the surface that that it's basically interlaminar shear. That's so the fibres have failed sort of deep inside, and then the sides have just sheared off. So that's sort of a real indication of a lack of toughness. So when you have the interlaminar shear, yeah, where basically the layers can just separate. So here's another shot, and you can just see how those layers have just separated. So there's been, it's sort of like two pieces of paper sliding against each other, with nothing much holding them together. So yes, from a repair point of view, that was beyond repair. So yeah, that's what scrapped this frame. Now there's a fair bit going on here, right, sort of where the bladder is, and you can see the remains of the bladder there, and it's sort of, being such a small diameter tube, it's very easy to get wrinkling and compaction sort of problems in that confined space. But moving up the tube, as the tube sort of enlarges, it's quite good again. So it's just sort of really down at the dropout. There's a metal insert in the brake bridge, again, which supports that, and that's all good. And then up to the junction, again, that's yes, the Chainstay Junction there is quite clean. So yeah, that's the inside look of the Cannondale Supersix Evo HiMod 2017. Okay, so that's the review on the Cannondale. So what's my overall impression on the bike? Well, overall it's pretty good. The bulk of it is pretty good. There's a couple of little things which I pointed out. However, this dropout, that's a real problem, and it'd be interesting to see if they've had any other failures, similar failures with that, because that is a real problem. If it's an isolated one-off incident, yeah, that's not as bad. But if it's happening multiple times, then that's a real concern. So the dropout holds your wheel on. So make no mistake, that's a very important structural element of the bicycle, because if the wheel isn't attached to the frame, that's, well, you can guess what's going to happen. So the overall design of the bike, I really like. It's just a simple, clean, straight lines, round tubes. It's really efficient. The cable routing itself is good. The dropout, the replaceable dropout hanger with the integrated cable guide, that looks really good. So, you know, overall, it's quite a well executed bike. The press fit bottom bracket, I've done videos on that, so you know there are issues with that. Hopefully people will get around that and resolve that in the future. I have in the older ones seen the front derailleur hangers come off. They've changed the design to a larger footprint to accommodate the higher forces, particularly with the electronic shifting. Yeah. Look, overall, you know, if it wasn't for the dropout failure, I'd give it really high marks. I'd probably give it, I don't know, maybe an 8 or something like that out of 10. Knowing that there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10, but yeah. But having that is, yeah. So as I said, I'd like to know if there's been other cases. So if you have come across these sort of failures on this brand before, or on other brands for that matter, pop a comment in, and yeah, that'll wrap that video up for today. It has been a while since I've done a video. I've been really busy with a whole bunch of other stuff and some family stuff as well. But yeah, as you know, I get to it when I can. All right, on that note, we'll see you again another time. Okay, bye.